Okay, here's a little update on the brake system. Took the brakes apart and I tried to bleed out the brakes, and the piston just doesn't generate any pressure. So I've kind of determined that the actual plunger in the master cylinder is probably bad. There are two seals, and I'm going to go talk to Sloan's about ordering a kit, a rebuild kit. Has two little seals in it. They'll get a new spring and the whole works, and I'll just rework the master cylinder. Also, I was doing some research, and the diaphragm in the master cylinder had been collapsed when I opened it up, and it said when you see that, that's an indication that possibly your brakes are worn. And after examining these brakes on this rotor, this is horrible. These brakes are down to the actual metal. So I'm going to order some new brakes for it too. So in the process, I've loosened the screw here that takes the brakes out. Of course, I took the two things that took it off the bike. But I understand. I think I have to take this screw out, and then that'll allow me to take the brake shoes out here. So I'm going to do that right now and show you how that's done. You can see the screw goes through back there and comes out right here, holds the brake shoes in place. So I'm going to take that out and show you how this works. This needed some lubrication on it because it did not want to come out very easily. I had a pretty tough time loosening it, but it's coming out now. Here we go. Take this out so I can take one of the shoes out so I can see exactly which ones they had in here. I'll hold this in place. Because when I go to Sloan's to order the cylinder, I want to take the cylinder piston out too and take it over and make sure they order the right one. I don't like to order something and find out it's the wrong one. It's just easier to take the thing off and do it right. So here comes this. Is it out yet? Should be pretty much out. It's still backing out a little bit. So this comes out. It's hard. This brake shoe should come out now. It came out like that. I'll lay that down like this. This one should come out. And that screw. This thing is filthy. This one comes out like this. That like this. So now we have the brake shoes laid out in the way that it went in. This one went in like this on the outside, and this one went in like this to the inside. Like this to the inside. Okay. Hopefully I got it. I'm sure I did. This one came out like this on the outside. This one came out this on this side. Piston thing goes through. Look how filthy this is up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this all up. I'm going to disconnect this, dump out all the brake fluid that I put in yesterday, and just rebuild these brakes totally. That's just bad. That's just not good. So I'll redo the whole thing for Nick. It's the least I can do. All right, I don't want these brakes failing on him, that's for sure. All right, now we got the brake shoes off. We'll go back to work. Okay, here's a little update. Been working on the pipes. Put the header pipe in loosely. I cut the end of the header pipe off 1 inch long, sanded it down so this joint piece could fit on, slipped it on, put the bracket on, and then the pipe or the muffler goes on here. And I'm going to tighten that up first, and then I'll come back and put the muffler on it. But I think that looks pretty tough like that. All right, just showing Nick what I'm doing down here. Okay, Well, that worked out pretty good. I got it gently attached to the header. Going down here, he must have dropped this bike right there. There's a little bit of scuff right there. It might come out through some chrome cleaner. And you got the two C-clamps for the two junctions. The header comes down here, and then you got a small junction part, and then you have the muffler. The muffler went on real easy. This piece here, all I had to do was drill out the end of this piece so it would fit over that screw. I haven't tightened it all up yet, but it's in the right position. So all we gotta do is just go to town here. Anyway, I hope Nick likes that. We'll see. It's pretty tough. Alright, that's it. Okay, this afternoon we're gonna work on this brake. The master cylinder. We took it off the bike. This is the hookup for the on-off switch for the for the brake light. I'll take the handle off here, take the brake switch off here, and then I have to get in here and pull the cylinder out of here. We're going to rebuild it. All right, let's get on. Take that plunger out. First thing I'm going to do is take the seal off. This is just a dust protector. Now there's an O-ring down in there. It's way down in there. We have to put the little C-clamp pliers on it, so I gotta go get that. Okay, let's turn that on. C-clamp. I got a little problem here because my O-ring pliers won't reach that far down in there, so now I gotta figure out. I'm going to have to go get some longer teeth for this to reach down in there. So I got to go to the hardware store. Alright, just another little problem. Well, today my C-clamp remover came. I was able to stick it down in there, put it on the C-clamp, snap ring, whatever you want to call it. There it is. And there it is. Got it out. Okay. With that done, the cylinder comes out. And there that is. And there's the bore. And that's all there is to it. I would have you note that the small end of the spring goes toward the plunger. It comes off. Or on. And that both of these clamps, both of these seals are pointed outward. That's important to note. Now the new plunger should be here in the new seal, so I'm going to leave that alone for right now. Another update, just epoxied in the light, and that's I had to order more epoxy. They just didn't send enough for the whole job, so I got more. I think it looks good looking from the back, upside down. It's nice and even. I think it's good. I had to epoxy the quarter panel a little better. Had a huge gap in it, so I added more epoxy to it and let it drip down in there. I think it's good enough. The other one turned out perfect. It just flat as a pancake. It was perfect. But this one, when I fitted it, that's the way it came out. And of course, that stuff dries in 3 to 5 minutes. So I just added more epoxy to the back. Okay, this is an update for Nick for his motorcycle. I put new brake shoes in this. I cleaned it all out. I did grease the special pins. The special pins are this pin going through here and this pin through here. And what you do, you just pull it apart. After you take the retaining screw out that holds the brake shoes in here, you pull it apart. This will separate at the boot. And I greased it with this stuff called Blu-ray waterproof grease, is what the Suzuki people recommend. And I greased those pins a little bit so that the brake can move in and out. I put a little bit on the retaining pin on here with making sure not to get any on the brake shoe itself. Then I also, well, that's it. Made sure that the anti-rattle pins are in the base, and also the retaining pin that's right here was in there that holds the brake shoes. So really that's all there is to it, to rebuilding the whole caliper. Really there's nothing else to it. That's the whole ball of wax. Let's make sure that the special pins will still move a little bit, which they do. See, it slides nicely. I'll put it all the way back in here and separate it a little bit so I can get it on the disc brake on the bike. As you can see, it glides really nice. This glides back and forth. See how it slides? Okay, so that's done. I'm going to put it on the bike and go ahead and rebuild the master cylinder. That's it. All right. Here's a look at the brake shoes that I put on this thing. It's Suzuki genuine parts. There's the part number. That's the brake shoes that you want. Okay. And this is the rebuild for the master cylinder, the plunger. You can see it has all the parts in it. It has the plunger, the spring, the O-ring, and the boot. And that's all you need. I'm going to put that together here in just a minute, okay? And that's the part number for the master cylinder rebuild plunger. Master cylinder went together really easily. I just followed the directions, put the spring on with the small end toward the butt, big end of the spring at the other end, slipped it down inside, put the O-ring over top of it. Had to press it down as I was putting the O-ring on, but that wasn't too hard to do. I just used a screwdriver, pushed it down as I let the O-ring loose, and then I put the dust boot over top of it. It's all ready to go. So we're going to put it on the bike. I got to put the switch plate on, the brake switch back on here, and put the handle depressor on it, and then I'll put it back on the bike. There's a little update on the brakes. I finally got them working. If you look now, I pull on the brakes, there's no give at all. And what I had to do, I had to reverse feed brake fluid into the port here. I took a syringe and put the tubing on here and put the syringe upward so the air bubbles came to the top, and I forced brake fluid in here into the cylinder, and it came back up and it came out through the reservoir. That way I got all the air out of the system. And then I bought a one-way valve, one-man brake bleeder, which is this little gizmo, and I hooked it up to it and I bled it out the rest of the way. It has a one-way valve in this little gizmo here, and that worked very well. And it has a magnet. You want to put it up higher than the caliper. So I'll give that to Nick so he has that. So just a little update on everything. Everything's going well. That's it on the brakes and the pipes. And now we just have to put the battery on that thing and see if we can get it started.
and finish the paint job, and that's all.